Good morning, everybody. If you guys saw my community posts in YouTube Shorts earlier today, I pointed out how there should be a live-action Ben 10 Scooby-Doo crossover. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. A live-action crossover between Ben 10 and Scooby-Doo? Yeah, I know that the idea of having a live-action Ben 10 Scooby-Doo crossover would not be a great idea. In fact, it would have been impossible to pull off. But since Netflix is still producing that live-action Scooby-Doo series coming soon, I just thought that a live-action Ben 10 Scooby-Doo crossover would be a good idea. Considering how it would be a great idea to bring back an old school Cartoon Network property. It worked well with Straight Outta Nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog, for example, if you know what I'm talking about. But I think a live-action Scooby-Doo Ben 10 crossover would be a neat idea. And here's my idea. And just hear me out on this one. Mystery Incorporated goes to Bellwood City to investigate some mysterious alien sightings, and they get help from Ben 10 to solve this weird alien-type mystery before the entire city of Bellwood and the entire world is doomed. Now, I know that seems like a silly idea, but to be fair, Mystery Incorporated has solved several more alien-related mysteries. Space Kook is a prime example, and so is Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, and Scooby-Doo and the Moon Monster Madness. And I think Ben 10 does solve some supernatural-type adventures. Heck, Ben 10 can literally transform into 10 different aliens thanks to the Omnitrix. Sorry about that. So yeah, a live-action Ben 10 Scooby-Doo crossover does seem a little bit cool and interesting. And I know we would have to wait a long time for that to happen, since Warner Brothers is slowly getting their act together again since David Zaslav somewhat left the company. But aside from that, I think a crossover between Scooby-Doo and Ben 10 would still be very mind-blowing to see. And it would be cool if this was like part of the live-action Netflix series at some point. Again, I know that's a bit of a stretch, but sometimes you never know what to expect these days. And again, I know my idea might seem a little bit ridiculous and might not seem interesting, but trust me, if my idea does come true at some point, it would still be mind-blowing, if you know what I mean. And again, I understand that you guys will mention it in the comments below how a live-action Ben 10 Scooby-Doo crossover would be pretty impossible to pull off. And I totally get it, since this idea between a live-action Ben 10 and a live-action Scooby-Doo crossover will still be a very tricky idea. But it doesn't hurt, okay? And if it does happen, imagine if we had a cameo by Tara Strong, who was the original voice of Ben 10 herself. That probably would have been a neat cameo, if you know what I mean. You know, kind of pulling off a Stan Lee type cameo or something. But anyways, just let me know in the comments below if you guys think a live-action Ben 10 Scooby-Doo crossover will happen, whether it's a good idea or not.